Hey, how's everyone doing today? This is Josh Noel with PremiumBeat, and in this filmmaking video, we're going to talk about 3 ways to create a shallow depth of field. If you're unfamiliar with the term shallow depth of field, think of it as how blurred out the background is. There are 3 things that influence the depth of field of your shot. That is the aperture of your lens, the focus distance, and also the focal length. And these are all 3 things that we'll explore in this video. So let's take a look at aperture first, or f-stop. And the more wide open you are, like at a 2.8, the more shallow depth of field that you're going to have. And if you stop down to say an f16 for a landscape shot, the less blurriness or the less shallow depth of field you're going to have. So if you want to have a shallow depth of field, make sure to shoot as wide open as possible. Of course, you're going to want to find what works for you. And of course, shooting at say 1.5 over a 2.8 might not be the right decision. You need to figure out what works for you when creating a shallow depth of field. It's just something to keep in mind when you're shooting. Taking a look at focus distance, we have a shot right here at 16 millimeters at an f2.8. And we're about 5 to 6 feet away from our talent, Julia. And looking at the shot, you can see that we can make out the trees in the background, and you can also notice that there's power lines back there. And we have it slightly out of focus in the background, but you can definitely make out the details. So let's say we move our camera to 2 to 3 feet away from our talent. You can notice that the background is even more shallow, and we're not necessarily able to make out the power lines in the background. And this is because our lens is focused on a closer object rather than being further out and having a lot more range in the depth of field. Okay, so we've talked about aperture and focus distance. Now let's take a look at focal length. Focal length also has a good influence on the depth of field in your shot. So you can see that when we slap on the 50mm lens, our field of view definitely closes down and we're able to focus less on the background, but we're also creating a more shallow depth of field as well. And we're also shooting at a T1.5, which also helps create a more shallow depth of field as well. And taking this concept even further, if we slap on an 85mm lens at 1.5, you can definitely not make out the details anymore, and the background's completely shallow. And now we have this very out of focus background just by looking at aperture, focus distance, and focal length. So now you should be able to take the techniques that we talked about in this video and create a nice shallow depth of field. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. For more tutorials, please be sure to check out our blog. And once again, thank you for watching this video. And this has been Joshua Noel from PremiumBeat.com.